Samsung finally announced the successor to the critically acclaimed Galaxy Buds2 Pro after nearly 2 years. And now we have the new Galaxy Buds3 Pro. It has new and improved features, dual amps, a new sound signature, and of course a brand new design. With all of this newness, is the new Galaxy Buds3 Pro good? And most importantly, is it better than the 2-year-old Galaxy Buds2 Pro? Let's find out in today's video. Remember to like and subscribe because this really does help us out a lot since we don't have any sponsors. Now, the case of the Galaxy Buds3 Pro is pretty typical for a wireless earbuds. It's slightly bigger than the Buds2 Pro's case and the top now opens up this way. The top piece is transparent and we can see the blue and orange marking that's inside, and that blue and orange marking actually tells us the left and right sides. It matches the blue and orange marking on the earbuds themselves, by the way, so you can orient it using those colors. On a side note though, does this remind you of Portal? Yeah, GLaDOS would be very surprised by this color choice.
Are you still there?
The case has all of the charging wattages listed down below around the USB-C port, and this is where the pairing button is located. Since the bottom is flat, we can place it on the table and make it stand on its own. Though it will topple if we leave the lid open when we put it on the table because the center of gravity is, I would say, very carefully balanced for this pair of earbuds. Personally, I do prefer the silver color of the Galaxy Buds3 Pro a lot more compared to this white color because the white color just doesn't look and feel nice. It can get hairline scratches easily since it is a glossy white finish, and they are gonna be visible since it is also very reflective. And then comes the earbuds themselves. Yeah, if you haven't already know, Samsung opted for a stamped design this generation. When questioned about the design decision, whether it's a copy or not, Samsung's reply was, quote-unquote, "I don't care." And honestly speaking, I can respect that. Samsung is putting function over form, and it shows as the Galaxy Buds3 Pro can do a lot more things better compared to the previous generation. This stem is triangular in shape and Samsung calls it the quote-unquote blade design, and that kind of assists and hinders the way that I put these earbuds back into the case. Why I say that is because if it's aligned, then it just slides in the case easily. If not, then I'll have to take some time to realign it. We'll talk about those blade-likes later because they are also an important part to the blade design. At the end of the stem is where the aforementioned blue and orange marking is located alongside a microphone. Since the microphone is now physically further apart from the earbuds themselves, the ANC performance is gonna be better, and we'll get into that later as well. The part that goes into our ears is pretty similar to what we had before. Samsung did say that they have fine-tuned the shape to make the curves more comfortable for more ears, and I personally don't feel much of a difference compared to the Buds2 Pro, but your mileage will vary because everyone's ear are shaped differently. And now the ear tips. Yes, I have to mention this with a lot of emphasis because allegedly this is what caused Samsung to delay its Galaxy Buds3 Pro's shipping. Sound Guys published this review saying that the ear tips need to be handled with care, and from my personal experience, I can see why. There is a plastic frame around the base of the ear tips, and those notches will align to the earbuds themselves so you can lock it in place when you have aligned them. So if you're not aware and not careful of this, then the plastic frame around the ear tips can be broken easily if you just squish it a little bit harder. The correct way to remove these ear tips is to turn the ear tip inside out, then grab most of it and slowly and gently pull it out. Do be careful as this section of the ear tip is at its weakest, so grab past it. Samsung does include 2 more sizes of ear tips, so just find the accessories box, and the ear tips are located in a tinier box hidden within the cable coil. Just be careful when you're opening the ear tips box because if you're not, then everything will just fly everywhere. The ear tips themselves also have this net to mitigate earwax from entering into the speakers of the earbuds, which is better than the Buds2 Pro's mesh. Now let's talk about the features on the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. Once the Samsung Wearables app has been installed, we can see a list of those features here. I'm just gonna focus on a few of the features that are important to me. First of all, this dashboard is pretty much similar to what we had before. It shows the battery of the earbuds and the case alongside the sound mode settings. We have the usual ambient and ANC modes, but we can also turn on adaptive mode. It automatically changes between levels of ANC and ambient mode depending on what environment that we are in. We do have the auto switch to ambient sound feature, and within that option, we have the usual sound detect. So if you speak to someone with ANC turned on, it will automatically switch to ambient mode so that we can continue the conversation with the other person without having to remove the earbuds from our ears. Then there's another new mode here called Siren Detect that automatically detects the sirens and alarms and then change to ambient sound so that we don't miss those critical alerts. While we are on this, let's now talk about the ANC. Honestly, I do think that the ANC here is very good this time, though it's a bit aggressive, and I do personally think that it needs a little bit of pressure relief, and this is coming from someone, me, who wears earplugs to sleep every night. I do think that having a microphone at the far end of the stem really does help to improve the ANC performance compared to what we had before, and that is why I'm saying this part of the earbuds is going for maximum function over form. The ambient sound is as good as usual. I do find myself turning ambient mode on the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro when I'm walking around the streets of Taipei. It's just very relaxing that way. Under the sound quality and effects menu, we can turn on 360 audio, which is a feature that I personally don't use. And next up is the EQ menu. We have 9 different sliders for different frequencies across 10 different levels to change how it sounds. And we have 6 presets to select from as well. We'll come back to this later because this is gonna heavily affect the sound quality. The dialogue boost option is helpful to improve vocals in videos that we watch, so you can enable this if it is necessary for you. Loudness normalization is actually an excellent feature to have. It prevents, getting jump scares by super loud sound all of a sudden, so this is a good feature to have. The adapt sound to fit option is another great option to have as it learns your ear's shape and make it sound as best as possible for your particular ear shape. Then comes the advanced quality option. Inside here, we can turn on UHQ audio, ultra high quality, and this is how we can get the advertised high-res audio of 24-bit at 96 kHz. Only if your audio source is at that quality, of course. We'll talk about this again at the later part of the video, so yeah, this is also not as straightforward as we think. Another thing that I want to focus on is the controls. It uses taps and swipes to control the media and volume, and it is accompanied by clicks to confirm our input. This actually works very well, though it is a bit awkward since I need to be a bit more precise to get those taps and swipes to register. Unlike the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro where I can just, slap my ear and trigger the gesture. Plus, the stem on the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro means that it can potentially snag on something and then fall out from my ear. Honestly speaking, I'm not really a fan of these stems, though it does allow better sound quality. However, we can use sound control. It's a great alternative to the touch gesture since we can just say the command and it actually works. It's gonna be a bit awkward as I walk down the street and suddenly I just say a word or two.
Play music. Next song. Next song.
And I guess this is where we should talk about the blade lighting. It's also one of the main highlights of the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro's distinctive design. To use it, we have to pinch both earbuds when we are not wearing it to actually turn it on. In the Samsung Wearables app, we can select up to 3 different lighting styles: blinking, fading in and out, and also steady. Unfortunately, it is only available in white color. But we'll have to do the pinching gesture every single time since it automatically turns the blade lighting off when we put it back into the case. And whenever we do turn on the blade lighting, the phone does get a notification telling us that the blade lightings are turned on. To put it lightly, I personally believe that the blade lighting is unnecessary. It brings no function to the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, and the user of the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro can't even see the lights. It's like having RGB headphones. You can't see it, everyone else can see it, but it doesn't actually bring you any benefit at all. But it just wastes your battery. I personally will just turn it off since I want the best battery life possible. Now, for the most important question, how does the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro sound? In its default mode, it's actually very bassy. Have a listen here. Our setup is quite rudimentary, but it works and we can get quite a clear idea of how it sounds. To me, it does sound extremely bassy and punchy, and personally, I think it's a bit too much. I use the EQ in the Samsung Wearables app to turn it to the treble boost preset. This sounds a lot better compared to the default flat EQ. Then comes the high quality audio that Samsung claimed. 24 bits at 96 kHz sound impossible on a pair of wireless earbuds, right? Turns out we can actually achieve this, and I can verify this as well. So here's my setup. I use PowerAmp since this is the absolute best music player app that money can buy, and I am using the 8-bit Big Band's music because they are free for you to download, and all of the songs are recorded in 24-bit at 96 kHz FLAC format, FLAC format. Since my sources are already at such a high quality, there will be no conversion done on the earbuds. But we'll have to head into PowerAmp's setting menu and enable high-res audio for Bluetooth to actually get 24-bit at 96 kHz audio. You can long press at this section of PowerAmp, and then you can check your audio's quality and what's the final audio quality that is played on your earbuds. Also, do remember to turn on UHQ mode on Samsung's wearable app, and this feature is only currently available on One UI 6.1.1 and up. And that is why I am using the Galaxy Z Fold 6 for this test, because originally I did pair it with the S24 Ultra, and yeah, a lot of features are missing. You can see a comparison on the screen here. So with UHQ turned on, EQ set to treble boost, and music playing at 24 bits with 96 kHz sampling rate, how does it sound? Here it is. Honestly, our setup is just not good enough to capture the difference between 24-bit 96kHz and 24-bit at 48kHz, but nonetheless, I honestly think that my ears can't tell the difference as well because I'm just not trained with an audiophile ear. So if you ask me if there's any difference upgrading to 24-bit 96kHz, I don't know, your mileage may vary, not for me though. And so here's a summary of all of the settings that I've changed. Also, here's another comparison with the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro with the same songs at its default settings, because I do think the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro out of the box, it sounds very balanced compared to this. So, does the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro actually sound good? Well, I do think that it sounds good for certain people. I personally don't like it to have too much bass, so I had to turn up the treble and lower the bass. Even then, the bass is still too much for my liking, but I do understand why Samsung did this. Many people like bass, and this sound signature of the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, well, it just caters to what most people like. Unfortunately, that's just not my cup of tea. Again, your mileage may vary because your personal preference is different from mine. Also, I want to highlight the microphone quality of the Buds 3 Pro and compare it with the Buds 2 Pro. So here it is. This is how the microphone on the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro sounds. Honestly speaking, I do think that it sounds better than the Buds 2 Pro because the microphone is at the end of the stem, so it's closer to my mouth. This is how the microphone on the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro sounds. I think that it sounds good, but it is not as good as the Buds 3 Pro. Now, let's talk about audio latency. This is a weird thing because I do think Samsung needs to address this with a software update. As of now, if we turn UHQ and gaming mode off, we are getting only about 260 milliseconds of latency, which is actually quite typical for a pair of wireless earphones running on Bluetooth. However, when we turn on gaming mode, the latency goes up to around 280 milliseconds. I have no idea why this is happening, as gaming mode is supposed to cut down on the buffer size to improve the latency. If we do turn on UHQ mode, then it makes sense to have around 480 milliseconds of latency, since it does need a bigger buffer for that higher audio bitrate to maintain an uninterrupted music experience. Honestly speaking though, Bluetooth is still not good enough for games, and it's the same for all Bluetooth earphones, by the way. It's just how Bluetooth is made. So at the end of the day, should you buy the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro? Well, it depends on you. I personally think that it sounds great even though the extra punchy bass sound signature isn't my cup of tea. Having a stem is a truly polarizing design choice, but I do applaud Samsung for being so ballsy with it and just, admitting that they don't care and they're putting function over form. If you do want to get the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro for yourself, then I'll have links down in the description below. Remember, you don't have to pay in full retail price, as those links will get you the best deals possible. Do let me know, what do you think of the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro? Are you gonna get it for yourself? I'm interested to know what you think, and remember to like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.